Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast, covering news, notes, and opinions of your favorite Philadelphia Eagles right here on the Eagles Pinpull Podcast Network. I'm Phil Stifle, your host. You can find me on all social media platforms at Beard and Knowledge. And guys, it seems like it's a recurrent thing week in and week out. Talking about Saquon Barkley and talking about the Philadelphia Eagles winning. Yes, the Eagles won Sunday Night Football 37-20 over the Los Angeles Rams. And Saquon Barkley dominated again, actually setting Eagles single game records in the process. First and foremost, guys, I apologize. No Monday morning show. These late night games, man, it makes it really tough for an old man like me to wake up early or stay up even later to do a short recording, even though it's short. But here we are. We're recapping it here on Tuesday, November 26th. It is Thanksgiving week. We'll see what kind of schedule I get out for you guys this week. I promise you a Friday show. I promise you a Tuesday and a Wednesday show. We'll see if there's a Thursday show as well or not. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to wing it this week, guys. But let's get into it. Eagles win 37-20 over the Rams, and Saquon Barkley, the highest of highs, man. The guy put out 255 rushing yards, 302 all-purpose yards from scrimmage, literally breaking Deuce Staley's pickle juice game record. He is on pace to break the Eagles' single-season rushing record. He's like a game and a half at his current pace away from breaking LaShawn McCoy's 2013 record. He is 215 yards shy since he's got 1,392 rushing yards, already fifth all-time in 11 games. The Eagles are now 9-2, won 7 games in a row, and are just straight on cruising on the back and on the legs and the shoulders of Saquon Barkley. And the numbers, it's not just the total numbers. It's so much. 500 yards over the last 2 games, 6 yards per rush or 6 yards per carry after contact. There's so much. I mean, he's on pace to break Eric Dickerson's 2,105 rushing yards from 1984. He only has to get 119 yards a game to break it. I mean, it's crazy the amount of work and the amount of success that Saquon Barkley's having. And most of it is because Saquon Barkley is one of the best running backs of the last 20 years. It's also on the back of the fact that our offensive line, when run blocking, is unstoppable. I mean, even Kenny Gainwell, I saw a stat today that Kenny Gainwell, since week 6, is averaging 4.8 yards per carry, 42 carries, 202 yards. I'm trying to read my notes here. I mean, even Kenny Gainwell is gaining positive yards, like massively positive yards behind this offensive line. It's just another, tip of the cap to Jeff Stoutland and the work that Jeff Stoutland does, not just with the likes of Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson, but with guys like Mekhi Becton, et cetera. It's just next man up, and everybody is on the same page. I've seen so many highlight reels of some of the run blocking done on the 270-plus yard touchdowns that Saquon Barkley had, and it's just perfection. It really is, especially from somebody like Mekhi Becton on Barkley's second, touchdown run. I mean, the play that was run, his blocking assignment got blown up, but he was able to take 3 guys out still in the process and end up helping spring Saquon Barkley for that big run. So everybody's on the same page on this run, in this running game right now. And it's not to take anything away from the passing game. Jalen Hurts had another great game, another turnover-free game. A.J. Brown had another big game and a big touchdown for the Eagles. Missing Devontae Smith, it obviously changes things, but with Devontae Smith being out, let's get him healthy. We've got the Ravens. We've got the Steelers. We've got some tough games ahead on the schedule to continue carrying this momentum forward, in my opinion. A collision course with the Detroit Lions for the championship. But getting him healthy, I mean, it's just Saquon Barkley's 4th. Let me put it this way. Saquon Barkley's 4th in MVP voting now. He's kind of bumped ahead of Jalen Hurts. I actually don't care that my Jalen Hurts MVP ticket that I bet before the season started probably won't hit, because Saquon Barkley deserves to get the MVP of the league. Saquon Barkley is now, at this point of the season, averaging per game numbers better than what Adrian Peterson in 2012, the last running back to win an MVP, was getting. It's just simply phenomenal. And there's so many things that we're going to get into this week about this Eagles team. But Nick Sirianni, after the game, and in his little dress down in the locker room, said, "We've not done," pardon my French, before I repeat his quote, pardon my French here. It's early in the morning. I don't want to curse for y'all. But Nick Sirianni said, "We have not done shit." try to keep everybody on the same focus line that the goal is still ahead of them. The goal is still to win a Super Bowl. And I think it's fantastic. And I think everybody's on the same page. And like I said, I got a lot of other notes that I want to get into throughout the week. But there was also, one big negative from the game, and that is the loss for the rest of the year of Brandon Graham, leader, eventual Eagles Hall of Famer, tore his tricep late in the game and will not be back this year. Technically, he did announce that this was his last year. I find it hard to imagine with the way he was playing this season that he will not at least maybe consider giving it a go next year. Yeah, I can't see him wanting to go out like this with the injury. Even at his advanced age, I mean, he led the team yesterday on Sunday in pressures. He only had 19. I think he had like 9. I forget the exact number. He didn't have a lot of pass rushing snaps, but he got the most pressures of anybody on the defense. On Sunday. So where will they go to replace Brandon Graham? We know from Vic Fangio's comments before the NFL trade deadline, he doesn't like bringing guys in mid-season because of how complicated his schemes are. Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat have had, very positive last, 2 months of the season. I fully expect them to get more snaps and more reps than they're already getting. Jalix Hunt kind of felt like he was going to have an increased workload this past week with Bryce Huff being on IR. He only had 9 snaps before the fourth quarter when we started going to some of the backups later in the fourth quarter. So, I was kind of surprised. So you'll probably see still another opportunity for Jalix Hunt to continue to, push forward here. I was listening to Ray Didinger on the radio, and he brought up from the practice squad Taron Jackson, who did play a few games this year with the Panthers. We drafted him back in 2021. He's been on our practice squad, on our active roster, bouncing around the last couple of years. He graduated. He went to Coastal Carolina, 6'2", 254. It's only 26 years old. Maybe this is the opportunity for Taron Jackson to step in. And when Ray Dinger mentions your name as the guy that's going to fill in for an injured player, it makes me believe. When Ray Dinger says something, he knows what he's talking about. Hall of Fame writer right there. Has been covering the Eagles for a long time. So I think that you're going to see a combination of Taron Jackson, Jalix Hunt, and an increased workload from Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat. I know everybody's going to bring up a lot of names that are on practice squads or that are free agents out there, but I highly doubt the Eagles will go that route. I really think the Eagles will stick to what they have in-house, which is Jalix Hunt, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, and like I said, Taron Jackson. Heck, maybe we start to see, we've been talking about it for 2 years now, that Milton Williams and Jalen Carter can play on the outside. Maybe we start seeing more combinations of those guys on the outside getting after the quarterback who both do a great job. Moro Jomo, maybe we see a little bit more of him with Milton Williams and Jalen Carter out there. Maybe we see Vic Fangio just get a little bit more creative with his rotations, and that's how we work it out. But that's what I got. Eagles, big victory. They're in first place. They got a big lead over Washington, who had a terrible loss on Sunday to the Cowboys. The lead's growing. It's basically the Eagles and the Lions for the NFC. Guys, through 4 weeks of the season, I wouldn't have imagined we'd been here, but we're here. So it's going to be great. We got a great Thanksgiving week, guys. Make sure you're liking, following. You find me on social media at Beard of Knowledge, Phil Stifle. Make sure you find Trending in the AM. I linked the copy and paste it from below. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9:30, the morning show on the STT Sports Network I do. Check that out as well. But this is the Eagles Checkdown right here on the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is. Guys, go Birds, and bubbles up to y'all.